All right. So I hear that this situation is kind of causing a stir. I did not know that they even met today. Hopefully, things are in progress to get this war stopped. But I hear that people are saying that Trump flexed on him by flying a B-2 bomber over his head when he arrived. I don't know if it's a flex. I'm just, after hearing it, I don't know if it was a flex. I know that, hey, I was just at SummerSlam and they flew jets over, you know what I mean? They, may have been a sign of, saluting. But let's see here. Cool shot. Cool shot. He said something to him there. A little smile. Okay, so I remember even on, Memorial Day, like they'll fly him overhead and stuff like that. Let me see what the news is saying, though. Because the news here says the first thing Trump did to Putin signaled very serious consequences.
Let's bring in Florida Congressman and Chairman of the House Foreign Relations Committee, Brian Mast. Brian, you're as fluent in foreign relations as anyone in the House. Your thoughts about reading between the lines now, because you don't know a lot of facts about what happened over the course of 3 hours.
Yeah, I think the president is clear-eyed, number one. I think his posture showed that he was clear-eyed about what Vladimir Putin was saying.
Look like a hitman, don't he? Oh, man, he looked like he get business done.
Where Vladimir Putin was wrong, his back is against the wall. There's double NATO land borders along Russia because of Vladimir Putin. As you mentioned in the previous segment, everybody's meeting their commitments or upping their commitments. Russian economy is not growing by 20%. They're in massive inflation is what's going on there, in fact. And you look at the list of things that are happening here, the biggest national security threat to any Russian male is forced conscription and then a deployment to go to the invasion of Ukraine. And these things are being realized across the board. And President Trump, I think, is just crystal clear that Putin's back is against the wall. And I think he demonstrated that clearness with his very first action before saying a word, with the fact that he flew B-2 bombers over his head.
Why was that important?
I think that was not an accident, obviously. For him to fly a B-2 bomber over Vladimir Putin's head, it was a signal to him that when President Trump says, hey, there could be very serious consequences.
See, the only reason why I don't know is because, it's kind of like a parade or, a way of saluting him, saying hello, type of thing. It could definitely be, but Trump knows Putin better than I do. My whole thing is, if Putin is a stiff-necked, hard type of person, you might not want to threaten him like that, even though, no one wants more wars or problems. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that was a show of strength and power. I'm not sure.
He's saying that these serious consequences can be very far-reaching. Maybe it's fires that we sell to European countries or other NATO countries that can reach Moscow or St. Petersburg, or oil refineries or other things. Or maybe it's other weapon systems that we make sure get into the hands of the Ukrainians. I think that's what I read between the lines of that number one action of them stepping on stage and having that bomber go overhead.
So, Chairman, in the first time President Trump was president, there was some friction with NATO. We know that. We saw it. There was some mocking among European leaders and the president. We witnessed it. We remember the open mic moment as they all talked about the president when he was in the other room, when he was in London, and Boris Johnson was the prime minister. But now you have a very united Europe, you have a very united NATO, and they seem to have respect for the president. So that's another goal of Russia's that has not worked. You have not divided the West from Europe.
No, I think it's entirely true. And Vladimir Putin is operating in a hallucination if he's reading anything other than that. And again, President Trump is clear-eyed on what the actual facts are. And if you go back to what you brought up about history and that divide between the United States of America and NATO in the 45 administration, President Trump was hammering Europe saying, hey, why are we a part of this 32 country, this NATO 32 country organization and Canada and others? Why are we a part of this if you're getting all of your oil and gas from Russia, if you have the Turk Stream pipeline and the Nord Stream pipeline and all these pipelines that you're getting things from Russia, why are we a part of giving our time and our troops and our treasure, and you're not meeting these commitments? Why would we do that? And he was clear-eyed at that time.
Yep, the most overrated leader of the last generation, Angela Merkel, thought that would be a great idea. Thanks so much, Chairman Mast. I appreciate it.
I want to Brian Kilmeade. I want you.
Okay, well, all of my political folk that follow me, let me know what you think. Do you think it was a show of power and strength, or do you think he was saluting him? What do you think was happening with this? Was it both? Was it some read between the lines? Let me know. 10 million subscribers. Woo!